Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. I am here this week to talk to you about batch recording. But before I jump into that, I want to share some of the recent reviews that have been coming in. And I would love to hear more from you, get some more feedback. Here's a review from Ken Hanneman. It says, I'm learning how to launch a new podcast and have enjoyed the bite-sized tips Danny offers as well as the more in-depth interviews. I've just subscribed to his email list and have downloaded his resources guide. I like to learn all I can from experienced experts in the field, and listening to Danny has been a real help and a great experience. I love reviews like that. Thank you, Ken. That's why I'm here, and I am so glad that you wanted to share that with me. If you want to share a review, all you got to do is go to whatever podcast platform you listen on and click on the reviews button or reviews tab or whatever rating, and you can enter it in there. And if you enter it, I will hopefully read it for you on a future episode. Definitely. So this week, we're going to talk about batch recording, and I'll explain to you what batch recording is and go through them and share some tips about how to batch record. But I want to tell you that this episode is the result of batch recording. I'm recording this episode actually 5 minutes after I finished recording last week's episode about ads and sponsorships. Okay. So that's the idea of batch recording. If you've ever wondered how podcasters like me and podcasters like our clients at Emerald City Productions get so much done, get episodes done, and seem to keep going every week, and they podcast, like they have an episode coming out every week all year long consistently without missing a beat, it might be because they're batch recording. Okay, that's a secret that a lot of people are using. And if you think about any type of manufacturing, most factories, things like that, they don't produce one-offs. They don't make one basketball. They don't make one widget. They make a machine that makes one after the other in big batches, the same thing. Okay. And that's the same idea with recording podcasts, is that you record multiple episodes one after another. Okay. And then when you're done, you can hand over to your producer, or you yourself at another date can edit and produce multiple episodes in one sitting. Okay, so if you sit down and you're the type that plans out 5 or 6 episodes in a row, you could actually accomplish a lot and get a lot done by blocking out maybe 3-4 hours of your calendar on a single day and do all those recordings at the same time. Okay, whether it's in the morning, whether it's in the afternoon, whatever, however long you think it will be, however long you think these episodes are, you can find yourself getting in this really good groove when you sit down to record a bunch of episodes at the same time. Okay. If you're an athlete, you might call it being in the zone, things like that. I like to think of it as systematizing, because once you get set up, once you've got all of your microphone ready to go and you've got your recording app or DAW or whatever you're using set up and ready to go, you just hit record and you start going. And then you get in the rhythm of talking as well and delivering your content, and you'll get a lot more done faster. So here's some other reasons why I think it's a really good idea to batch record. Well, first of all, it frees up a lot of your time. Okay, I know a bunch of our clients where they pick one day a month where they do all their podcast interviews. And then they pick 2 other days a month where they block out their whole day and they record 4 or 5 episodes in that one day. And then they're set. Like they've got 6 weeks of episodes done. It takes some planning. It takes managing your calendar. It takes maybe blocking out some times. But if you can do that, if you can get all of that done, you have just made it so that you don't have to think about things for a month at a time. I tend to batch in 2 or 3 episode blocks. And so, like I said, I recorded in this block last week's episode, the episode you're hearing right now, and then I'm going to record next week's episode as well. And that gets it done so that I don't have to think about it again for 3 weeks. And then I've got a day later this week where I go ahead and schedule all this stuff out and put it on my website and things like that. So I batch the recording, and then I also batch the scheduling. You can do all those things, and it frees up more of your time. Okay. And that sort of goes along with the last minute scramble. we have maybe half of our clients that batch record, and then half of our clients where the day before their episode is due each week, they send it in. Okay. And there are times where those clients that are delivering it the day before it's due, they're late. And why are they late? Because life happens. Okay. You heard me talk a few weeks ago about, they got sick and then they didn't have a voice. And maybe they had to miss a week because they waited until the last minute. Or they get up the next morning, they blocked out their morning to record, and there's a fire that they have to put out in their business. Not a literal fire, hopefully not a literal fire, but something's happened and they have to deal with that. And then they run out of time to record. Or kid misses the bus and they have to drive the kid to school. Like, all those types of things can happen. But if you batch record, you don't even have to worry about that type of thing because all those things are already done. You got to remember that if you don't show up for your audience, so like if you miss the deadline and the episode doesn't go out on time, you're not being consistent for your audience. And that is, that's the type of thing that can lead to audience numbers declining and download numbers declining and things like that. And you just want to avoid that if at all possible. We've talked about solutions in the past. If you need to take weeks off, you can replay things, and you don't always want to have to do that. Like if you're accidentally late or you're behind or you're leaving everything to the last minute, you don't want to have to throw up a replay that doesn't make sense just because you waited until the last minute and then there was a problem. So think about that. Batch recording can keep you avoiding that last minute scramble, can free up your time as well. The other thing is that it just selfishly on our end as a podcast producer, it can make that run a lot more smoothly. If I have, and my team has 10 episodes from you for the next, we have one client that does this where they'll send us 8 episodes at a time. We then can plan out our schedule. We can do stuff at an easy pace. We can get it done as early as it needs to get done. If there's an issue, we have time to go back to the client and ask them for clarification and things like that. It just makes everything run smoother. It allows us to plan out the promotion of episodes and all those types of things. So I love it. I love batch recording. I think it's the best thing. I think it's the secret for all those really busy content creators that you see that seem to be doing everything all the time. They're everywhere all the time. And most likely they're able to do that because they are batch recording their podcast. They might be batch recording all of their content, their YouTube stuff. They're repurposing. You've heard me talk about that before. So think about it. Think about batch recording. It's really something that I think you'll want to do, especially if you're busy or you're doing your podcast on the side and this is just a second thing. Batch recording is going to be the secret sauce for you. So hopefully this was helpful, and I will be back again next week. So I'll see you then.